Welcome to another edition of Our City. I hope the summer is going well for all as we move into August and we prepare for going back to school. So on Tuesday, August 8th at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm going to join members of the Dominican community of our city, and they're going to raise a Dominican flag celebrating their independence in front of City Hall, located at 50 Winfield Scott Plaza. And on Thursday, August 10th of the same week, around 5 o'clock, I'm going to join members of the Ecuadorian community as they will raise the Ecuadorian flag in front of City Hall, celebrating their independence. And on Sunday, August 13th at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to join community members, people from out of town, for the Color Vibe 5K run located at the Mills at Jersey Gardens, 651 Kapkowski Road. If you've been to this event in the past, you know how much fun it is. It's a fun run or a walk. Participants make their way through different color stations throughout the route. And after the run, participants are invited to stay for a colorful dance hosted by a professional sound crew and a DJ. For more information, please call 908-436-3005. And on Tuesday, August 15th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the annual health fair in honor of National Health Center Week. This event is held at the Neighborhood Health Center located on Magnolia Avenue between 1st and 2nd Street. For more information, please contact the city's Division of Health, the public health nurses at 908-820-4250. If you need more information on these events or any other events, please call our public information office at 908-820-4124. Please stay with us after these messages. We're going to talk about efforts of cleanup on the Elizabeth Avenue Partnership.
Sometimes you learn by helping others learn. Kane University.
Welcome back to our city, where I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Chris Bernardo, who's the president of Commercial District Services. Chris, welcome back.
Oh, it's great to be here.
You were on the show a couple years ago.
I was. It seems like it was a very long time ago, but I understand it was only about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
It's good to be back.
It could be a long time, depending on who's counting. Mr. Garet Malinowski, the Senior Design and Building Project Manager at Native Fields. Garet, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You haven't been on before.
Nope,
Okay.
my first time.
And Michael Conrad, Garden State Landscapes Incorporated. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon.
You've been here before?
I have not.
Okay. So why don't we start with you, Mike. Tell us a little bit about your company, Garden State Landscapes, how it got started.
Okay, it's a division of Garden State Landscapes, water well planters actually. And water well planters came to be, like most things, I guess, out of necessity. Or maybe not necessity.
The mother of all inventions, right?
Right. But maybe need. Maybe not necessity, but need. I remember when it first kind of hit me that there was a need in our marketplace for water well planters. I was at the State University here in New Jersey, and we were at a pre-bid walkthrough. And I was in this courtyard, newly installed, beautiful courtyard, new pavers and seat walls, landscaping, and they had these large commercial planters placed throughout the courtyard. And I couldn't get my attention off of the plants and flowers that were inside of those planters. It was probably mid-July and just a scorching hot day, and the flowers just looked horrible. And I was thinking to myself, there's just no way to keep those plants watered enough so that they would ever look good. 5 minutes later, lo and behold, here comes the water truck. 2 men hop out, uniformed, and they drag the hose through the courtyard to water the plants the way that they need to water the plants. And I'm just sitting back watching this, and I'm watching the students pass over the hose, and they're overwatering, which really wasn't to anyone's fault. It's just how it is when you water and the water spills out the bottom and down the sidewalk. And I just thought to myself, there has to be a better way to do this. So as I sat there in the courtyard and kind of staring at the planters, Garet can probably elaborate on this a little bit, but what we do typically here on the East Coast are seasonal plantings. We plant early spring, we plant summer, and then those are removed and we plant our mums and cabbage and kale for the fall. Those plants really don't need 4 or 5 feet of soil to grow in. And that's kind of when it hit me that these large planters are just wasting so much space with soil that they should be filled with water. And that's kind of how the whole thing got started.
Clever. So, and Garet, you're with Native Fields.
Yes.
And your involvement in this business. So, what exactly do you specialize? You want to pick up what Michael said?
Yeah, sure. At Native Fields, we specialize in pretty much all things landscape. We do everything from maintenance, weekly maintenance, all the way up to site work and development. My role in the business is I take care of all the installation projects. I do all the design work, coordinate all the crews, and I also head our site work division as well, where we're putting new buildings in and stuff like that. And what I'm involved with down here is working with these two guys and really making these planters come to life. When 2 years ago, Chris had contacted me and say, hey, I found this great product and we want to use it. We first introduced it down in Mount Prospect in Newark. And I said, okay. I said, that sounds cool. Springtime, real busy. Chris didn't really give me a lot of information about it. You know what I mean? We just talked about it. We said, hey, we got to use good potting soil in there. We're not going to need it as much. And then, he gave me some renderings of the planters and some descriptions. And I said, wow. I said, if this works, this is going to be amazing. And I was a little skeptical at first, you know what I mean? I was like, how is this really going to work? You know what I mean? Is it going to perform well? And, the first day down at Mount Prospect 2 years ago, Mike was down there, Chris was down there, we all met. He delivered the planters. He did kind of a crash course, which I'm sure he'll do later on how to install these. And we were prepared with our potting mix, our flowers, and we were ready to go. Our water truck was there. And we installed them, and a couple weeks later, after the flowers really started to fill in, I mean, you could see the difference within weeks. And the time savings and material savings overall is less for the community. And that's really what it comes down to, is you're getting a better product. There's less maintenance involved, which is less dollars, and less maintenance and less product all the way around. Like Mike was saying, instead of filling this big 36-inch planter up with potting soil, which might take 2 huge bales of a Pro Mix mixing solution, we're now cutting that down to a quarter of a bale of this Pro Mix solution, and we're saving money on the material big time on this. And I stand behind Mike and Chris on this, and it's definitely by far one of the best products I've seen come out in the last probably 10 years, as far as something for commercial sites and downtown districts that really improve the overall environment of the communities. And you get such a great product, and we're not hassling with water trucks and watering 2 times a week, and that's gone now. We fill these up, what do you think, Chris? Maybe once a month? Somewhere once every...
Once a month is preferable, but they can go up to 2 months without water, which is fantastic.
So Chris, tell us about commercial district designs and the services that you provide through that.
So Commercial District Services, we are a public space management company, and we manage business improvement districts. So there's a whole scope of services that we're involved in districts throughout North Jersey. Outdoor maintenance, sweeping, graffiti removal, special event management, and beautification. Beautification is a tremendous part of the work that we do. And when I came across this product, Garet, I don't know if he described it correct. I was just like completely animated. I was really excited about it because one of the really big challenges that we have in business improvement districts is the fact that we have a limited budget. And a lot of times, one of the things that really goes by the wayside is ongoing maintenance for stuff that you put out on the street. We're great about getting involved in things, but the money isn't always there to really support the products that go out there. When I saw this, I realized that this was a game changer for business improvement districts. The fact that you can put a beautiful planter out on the street and only have to water it maybe every month and a half or so is amazing, because otherwise you would be watering 3 or 4 times a week, which is a very costly endeavor, and in most cases bids just simply can't fund it. So when we saw this, and I was skeptical as well early on, but when we tested it out on Mount Prospect Avenue in Newark, that was the first place we did it, which is one of my clients in the North Ward in Newark. I was just amazed. It actually exceeded my expectations. I mean, I had seen pictures, and Mike had described it to me, and I had a good feeling for it early on, but when I saw that 2 or 3 months into the planting, these planters were still blooming, it was just amazing. And we get so much nice feedback from stakeholders in every place where we put these. It's just
Chris, how long have you been working with the Elizabeth Avenue Partnership?
I've been with the partnership, well, in a couple of different capacities. Believe it or not, I was involved early on, back in the late 90s, in helping to put together the Special Improvement District itself as an organization. And then Dave Strojak, the current executive director, took over, and he's been there for 15 years. But about 7 years ago, I came back on board to bring these services to the district, outdoor cleaning and ambassador services. And it's just been a really great project for us. Elizabeth Avenue has so much potential. It's already fulfilling a lot of that potential, but there's really no limit when you talk about Elizabeth Avenue as far as where it can go as a really viable neighborhood-based commercial district.
And so Mike, this design you talked about, you designed it, you created it?
That's correct.
So you have a patent for it and everything like that?
We do. We have 3 patents that cover.
Really?
Yes.
And how arduous was that process?
It took some time to get here, for sure. But we're here now, and we're ready to really start getting this out and onto the streets and municipalities and commercial buildings and wherever we can get them. It's where they need to be.
So how did you come about the Elizabeth Avenue Partnership? One of these guys call you? Or?
It was through Chris at CDS, just from top to bottom, a well-run organization who referred us to Dave. And Elizabeth had, I think, 50 planters along their streets. And then we saw the potential for what we could do here in Elizabeth. One of the big points for sure for us is water conservation. Each one of these inserts, Elizabeth uses a 27-inch insert inside of their existing planters that they had. They had approximately 50 planters. And the water savings per unit is about 365 gallons of water. So that by 50, that puts us somewhere at about 16,000 gallons of water per year. Which is a tremendous savings, for Elizabeth. Multiply that by 10 years because the inserts don't go bad, and we're really doing something special here.
So, and Garet, Native Field's involvement with the downtown district, you're not in the same company, right? You're a different company?
Nope, we're different companies.
And so what are the districts, where do you currently serve?
We work very heavily with Chris and CDS, and we've, all 3 of us have really become, kind of partnered in this whole thing. But we service Elizabeth Avenue, Mount Prospect Avenue in Newark. We do a ton of planters down in Newark in the Ironbound.
Yeah.
We've introduced this on the Bergen Line in Newark as well.
Bergen Line's Clinton, which is actually a brand new special improvement district in the South Ward in Newark. They received their first 30 this year. And then, of course, Journal Square.
We just introduced those in Journal Square early summer.
Yeah, I would point out that Elizabeth was, I believe, the 3rd special improvement district in the state to introduce these. Mount Prospect Avenue in Newark being the 2nd, and actually Somerville, downtown Somerville, was the 1st, which is where Mike's company is based out of. And we've just kept expanding them in the districts. The product, to be very honest with you, makes our services look great, because when you have a beautiful district out there, everyone looks great. The stakeholders look great.
So Chris, is your niche doing downtown districts, among other things?
Yeah, downtown districts is really the place where we focus most of our efforts. We also work for private developers in some public spaces, but business improvement districts is where we started, and it's where we've stayed for the last 20 years.
So you work for other municipalities as well?
Yeah, we work heavily in Jersey City, in Newark, of course here in Elizabeth. We also work for Hackensack, and in Newark and Jersey City they have multiple special improvement districts, and so wherever I'm working, I'm trying to bring these planters to the district because I believe in the product. I do want to point out that we're not partners. We're partners in the sense that we do great work together, but I just believe in the product so much. It's very easy for me to say, you know what, I'm going to make sure my client invests in this because it makes sense.
If you guys can stay with us, we're going to run some commercials, come back and talk more, and I think you're going to give us a little explanation there, Mike, with what you brought with you.
Sounds great.
Please stay with us after these messages, talking more about the Elizabeth Avenue Partnership and greening the avenue.
We're an American original, dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started. Welcome back to our city, where we're talking with three gentlemen who are greening Elizabeth Avenue in a very unique, special, and new way. And I want to start off the second segment with Mike and ask him to explain exactly what was going on in the first segment on how these, is barrel the right word, or planter the right word? What's the right word to describe this, first of all, Mike?
So this is what we're calling a hydroponic insert.
Hydroponic insert.
And this is the part that actually goes into the decorative planter.
So you have the decorative planter, and that goes inside of it.
Exactly right.
Okay.
For us, initially, the concept was to keep this as simple as possible. The simplicity then would drive the cost effectiveness that would truly, get this to work. And simply, there are two components. This is what we call, the base, or what we call the well, and this is the part that holds the water. We have the soil.
How much
tray.
water can fit in there?
The average is 25 gallons. This is our smaller unit. I knew we'd be pressed for space on set, so this is our smaller unit, but average is 25 gallons. And then this is the soil tray, and obviously the soil and the plants are installed in this upper tray. We use these hydrating wicks, pull water from the main well up to the plants as needed.
So the water comes up through those?
Through these hydrating wicks via capillary action.
I guess you would have learned that in biology or chemistry or something?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how that works. I have
like
no
an old
clue.
lantern, or when your basement floods and the water creeps up the sheetrock. It's just it's capillary action that pulls. It's an on-demand service basically for the plant. So depending on exposure, for full sun or filtered sun, and the plants are taking more water, the wicks will give the plants what they need. So it's one of those things that you truly do less work, but you get better results because there's no influx of you water, and then an hour or two later the soil is bone dry, and then they're watered again the next day. This is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, exactly the right moisture content that the plants need. So
depending on the heat of the month, it's how often you have to fill?
Correct. The well. That's correct. Yeah. And because you have that consistency, we have lush, green, vibrant plant material with longer bloom times, something that you can do less work and you get better results.
And that was what did it for me when I saw that, because I'm out there all the time. Part of my job is to test the health of the plantings, and so I know typically how quickly soil can get dry. When I went out there, once a week, twice a week, going 2 to 3 weeks down the road after we had watered them and they were still moist, I knew that this was exactly what was the benefit to having a system like this. That consistent moisture, it just allows the plantings to really blow up over the course of the season.
So Garrett, your job is to make sure the water and the dirt and the everything makes. And you talked about setting up the crews and so.
Yep. So
after Mike comes by and installs these things, what exactly do you do?
Well, what we do typically, a general installation will be Mike's guys come down and they will deliver them on site. If it's new to the district, like to Elizabeth this year, his guys came down. They actually delivered most of them to our facility up in North Jersey, and we were able to, unpackage them, load them onto our trucks. This way we can put them out onto the streets as we need them, which works out great for my guys, you know what I mean? Because, we get a map of where everything's going and they can literally lay everything out. What we generally do is, put the planter out, we'll put this insert in, the full insert in, then we'll fill fill this with soil. We use what's called a Pro Mix growing media, something that you'll use in your vegetable garden or your home flowers at home. It's a real nice, fine potting soil with some vermiculite and other nutrients in that the plants help absorb as they're getting water throughout the season. The plants will absorb those nutrients, and that's what helps them be flush and flower all season. My guys will then install the flowers and everything, kind of clean everything up around the rim, around everything. This way the street's nice and clean. And then we have our water truck come in behind, and all we do is take this cap off. We literally put the hose in here and let it fill up. And Mike has a great design back here. There's an outlet hole. So once that outlet hole's up to that level, the water will overflow. It'll overflow onto the pot in the streets, and it's easy for my guys because they know exactly how full to make it. They put this cap back on and they move to the next one. It's a few minute process to fill it up with water, and it takes a crew of 3 guys about, I don't know, maybe 7.5 to 10 minutes to install the planters.
So you don't have to pick up the top part where the plants
nope.
are in it?
Nope, that's what makes it great. I mean, all your maintenance is done through this right here. So every 2 months, either my guys will come water or Chris's guys will come water. It's very simple to do. They just literally pull this cap. They'll stick the hose in. They know when it's full, and they go on to the next one. So there's no really guessing of, is it full? Is it not full? How much water should I put in? It takes the guesswork out of everything. And like Mike was saying, the plants stay moist, the correct moisture the whole time. And there's no guessing with a normal planter with one of my guys going out and watering and either overwatering or underwatering. There's really no way. It's hard for for someone to tell what the correct watering is.
So
when
the minimum,
we do that.
as I said, the minimum amount of time would be a month, you'd say, and depending on the heat of the summer, it
Yep.
could be a little less.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's another important aspect to this that we need to touch on, and because it speaks to the idea of preserving taxpayer money. When you invest in planters like these, one of the nice things about it is that you can actually remove it off the street during the winter time. One of the biggest problems that we run into in districts is over the course of a year, when you have amenities out on the street, sooner or later, something's going to happen to them. They're going to get knocked over, or they could also get hit by a car. We have certainly run into that, especially in the Ironbound in Newark. And with these in place, being able to pull them off the street, it preserves the life of them tremendously. So we're very happy about that. They can be very easily stored, and then they can be planted the next season at the location and then brought out for placement, which is another great money saver for both business improvement districts and municipalities.
Mike, can that plastic freeze in really cold weather and crack?
No, there is no cracking. But to Chris's point, that was all part of the design, the nestability or the ability they're able to stack. Limited disturbance on the streets is essential. It reduces liability. So Jared's guys can go through, they remove the soil tray, they're loaded up into the trucks, brought somewhere behind the scenes, a parking lot or back to their yard. They can get replanted uniformly where all the plants are split, and 2 mums and a yellow mum and a half a flat of pansies or whatever it may be. So you have that consistency. So down the street there's that uniformity, which just pulls everything together. Those trays come back out and they're just put back in place. So the days of 2 men and removing the old plants and getting that into the truck and then back and forth and then cleaning the dirt up, that is a thing of the past to reduce the
This is
public
relatively
disturbance.
new, though, on the market, right? Or
Yeah, this is our first year producing the inserts.
it is.
Yeah.
Did you guys go to school for this stuff, or this just kind of fell in your lap somewhere?
I wouldn't say fell in our lap. There's a lot of work that went behind this
Yeah,
for
really.
sure. But this is just
But what were you
again,
doing
out of
before
need.
you designed this? Were you doing landscaping?
Yes,
stuff? You
correct. Exactly right.
were? Okay. That's so Chris, the overall effect of water well planters on municipality will ultimately transform the business you started.
Well, in many
In a
ways,
way.
in many ways it will. I mean, it also really strengthens it. I mean, one of the things that we're always trying to do is find value for our stakeholders. And as I mentioned before, the cost savings and the portability of a product like this really helps municipalities maintain the taxpayers' dollars. I'll give you another great example. In Newark, after we introduced this 2 years ago, the city actually made their own purchase of water well planters and began to place them in areas where it would be historically difficult to get watering trucks in to water. Entryways to highways, some of the more complicated areas. It's great. You can beautify those areas and not have to worry about getting ongoing maintenance there because you've got the great water well system to maintain them.
So, are you the only one that does this stuff right now? Are there competitors? Are they stealing your patent? What's going?
Not yet. There's nothing really like this. The difference with ours is that it's a conversion kit for existing planters. What's on the market are self-watering planters. The downside to those planters typically is that the water storage is within the walls of the planter. So the downside to that is they don't stack. And exactly as Chris was mentioning before, they should come off the street in the wintertime for snow removal or whatever the case may be. The planters are removed, they're stacked neatly. The wells stacked separately, the trays stacked, they get put in a corner somewhere safely, they're ready for the next year.
Yeah, when they get delivered to us, I think we had 40 of these on one single packaging pallet that were all stacked up nice, wrapped up, and we could literally do a whole district out of a back of one of our dump trucks.
And we did.
And we do it every time.
Yeah.
We stack everything up in the back of a normal F-350 dump truck, and he delivers them like that too. So it's really not a lot of space. You're talking about a 9 by 6.5 area. You're getting 40 of these planters. So, and they stay nice. And we actually store them at our facility for these districts in the wintertime. And they don't take up a lot of space at all. I mean, we could easily
So, Garet,
store
what's
them.
the future of native fields and landscaping?
I think this is a big part of the future for us. I think working in downtown districts like Elizabeth is really the way we want to progress a lot of our business. I think there's a lot of meaning behind beautifying downtown areas, and I think this is definitely the way to go. And I think Chris is moving all these districts in that direction. And I think, like Chris says, it's a value for the stakeholders, and you're really executing this where you could get a beautiful district without putting a ton of investment in, and this investment they'll never go bad. You know what I mean? We haven't had
run over.
Yeah, but we've had cars run into them, run over them. It's not like they break, you know what I mean?
Actually, Mayor, you make a wonderful point because the price point for these planters is so competitive that even if there were some type of catastrophic event, it doesn't cost a lot to replace them. Whereas in more traditional planters where you're spending upwards of close to $1,000 per planter, it's cost prohibitive to replace those planters.
So, Mike, where do you see this going in the future? Is it just taking off? Do you market this?
This is the beginning.
Maybe, right.
Expansion, always expansion. We're working on new products to add to our line. We're working on square inserts right now. We're looking.
Do you see this in home gardens and backyards in a smaller way?
The plan is to build our commercial side, hanging baskets, commercial wrought iron hanging baskets with the coconut liner with this technology. We've had a lot of requests for that. We're working on that. We're looking to push that this spring. Once we're set with our commercial side, definitely for us the end all is the retail market. Ideally, hopefully before I leave here, there'll be a water well planter on every kitchen windowsill, on everyone's backyard patio from here to California, and
back.
Who knows?
Yeah. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the work you're doing on Elizabeth Avenue.
I appreciate it.
And thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing this continue.
Mayor, I did come with a gift I'd like to present to you.
Oh, no, that's all right. A shirt, a yellow shirt.
Now, I do want to point out that when we were last here, you had a T-shirt, but you've now been promoted. These are our Segway Ambassador shirts, very bright yellow. So
Cool.
The next time you're out on the Ave, you can wear this and you can fit right in with us.
Thank you very
There
much.
you go.
I want to thank Mr. Chris Bernardo for joining us on the show, Mr. Garet Malinowski, and Mr. Michael Conrad for all of their ingenuity and creativity in helping make Elizabeth Avenue greener in the city of Elizabeth. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
Why do we like it here? Let's just say the reasons are diverse. Kane University.